What up? What up? Day 74. I almost didn't make it. It's 11:53. Ah, I'm starving. I've been busy all day. Um, yeah, I've been busy all day. I'm starving. Soon as I'm done here, I'm gonna be busy some more. You know, but so I gotta make this quick. Almost didn't make it, but I made it. I made it. All right. Let's go ahead and get into these videos. We're gonna get started so I can eat and do what I gotta do. Oh, hold on, let me change something. Let me change these settings real quick. Damn, what is this thing at? On content, here we go. I guess it's not showing it. All right, there we go. I found it, y'all. My bad. I forgot to do this before I started. All right. Here we go.
2 years ago, the average cost of a house in this country was $215,000. Today, it's
First of all, what's up with this guy's voice? His voice is horrible.
$400,000. And the interest rates you're going to pay on that house have gone from 1% to 7%. So you're paying 10 times as much for that house you were 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. I have 7 kids. They're all between 20, 35 years old. They should be moving into their own homes. Mm-hmm. But I don't know any of them or any of their friends who are actually buying a home now. And one of the reasons for why did the price of housing go up? Well, one, because of the inflation, because we spent $8 trillion on wars and $16 trillion on COVID, which we didn't have. So they print money, which caused the price of everything to go up. More importantly, there's 3 giant corporations, BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard, which own collectively, they own each other. So it's really one giant corporation, but they also own 89% of the S&P 500. They own everything. They've now decided to buy every single family home in America. So if they stay on the current trajectory, they will own 60% of the homes in this country, single family homes, by 2030. They literally are trying to buy everything. And the head of it, Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock, is on the board of the World Economic Forum. And what they've said, we want this great reset, which is you will own nothing and you will be happy. Well, they're on their way to making sure that we don't own anything. So you all probably have heard of people who are about to buy a home, and somebody comes in at the last minute with a cash offer and snatches it out of the market.
Right.
And it's usually an LLC with an ambiguous name. But if you trace that up, you'll find it's owned by BlackRock.
Wow.
And because they have a huge bank book, the cost of money and interest in them is tiny, which means they can outcompete your children. Well, your kids do not have a chance to buy that home because they can't outcompete BlackRock.
That's crazy. And this is why I'm trying to leave America. I ain't gonna lie. I've been ready to go for a long time. But I've seen another video where they were saying BlackRock was also, this was a while ago though. This was like maybe 2 years ago. Maybe 3 years ago, when the housing market just went up crazy, then they started selling a whole bunch. They was getting rid of a lot of homes that they had. So I don't know how old this video is, but let's see what some of the comments said. It should be illegal for a business or a corporation to purchase a single family home. Why would it be illegal though? I don't know if it should be illegal. Well, let's see what some of the people saying. So what she's saying. Damn, she got mad comments. Why does Instagram not just start at the top of the replies? It said it was before 2003. I'm not an American, so I'm not sure. Any idea if it was Democrat or Republicans that set the change in the law? It said they will just pay lawmakers to rewrite what defines a single family home. Yeah, that sounds like something that will happen. That will have to be carefully defined because there are a lot of us who own small businesses that are either LLCs or E-Corp. But they supposed to put corp? But and that would put us out of the picture, and we have nothing to do with the other big guys. This should be the next executive order. That would be anti-capitalism. It probably would, but it's so many different things that they made laws against. Homes should be where families live. It shouldn't be that we have to continue to pay taxes on properties that we own. That's the dumbest thing right there. This is the thing. You buy all these homes, but then you don't even own them outright because it can still get taken away. This is another reason why I want to leave. Lots of regular people purchase a home under LLC or go for a second investment property. I don't believe that is fundamentally the issue. What I see a lot is foreign cash investors buying up homes sight unseen. I don't understand why it would be so hard for the government to say, okay, mortgage rates are high. We are going to lend to the first-time home buyers or primary resident loans at a loss at 3 or 4% to give them competitive advantages over investors who have the cash to be immune from high rates. But if they got the cash, then it doesn't mean anything because people would rather take the cash. It makes the sell easier. If I'm trying to sell a home, I'd rather sell it to a cash buyer than sell it to a person who has to go get a loan and we have to do all of this, or the whole process. It just takes too long. So the U.S. will obviously not do this because they don't give a fuck about the working class or the middle class. They are bought and paid for 10 times over. Trump made it legal in his first term. I don't know how true that is. I can buy a house in my hometown for $40K in the city. I live 3 hours away. It'll run me $250,000 plus. We're always going to be cogs in a big courts machine. It just takes due diligence and a good partner in most of the other states. Yeah, it's I don't know, it's crazy. I don't know. I don't have any solutions. Let's go to the next video. School was never meant to make you rich. It was designed to keep you obedient. They taught you algebra but skipped taxes. That's a fact. Like, why teach me algebra but don't teach me taxes? That's more important. Taxes is way more important. Fuck algebra. Who cares about algebra? They made you memorize history but ignore wealth creation. Here are 8 money lessons schools deliberately skip to keep you in a rat race forever. They sold you into college but never taught you ROI, return on investment, for those who don't know. They said college equals success but skip debt analysis. That's another thing. That's why I don't really push it on my kids. Some people be like, oh, you're not going to push them to go to college? Why? The purpose of going to college, okay, there's some things that college could teach you, you know, as far as a kid living on their own for the first time, even though it's still somewhat regulated because normally they live in the dorms and, you know, they got a roommate and stuff like that. So it could teach you some of those things, and it teach you kind of to work hard, which is a good thing. But you can teach them that yourself, right? But why would I tell them to go to college, get into all of this debt, especially now because it's getting worse, And most people who go to college for a certain degree, they don't even work in that degree when they get out of college. So unless you have, unless you're going to school that you have to have this degree to like, if you're trying to be a doctor or a nurse or um or a lawyer, I think if you pass the bar, you wouldn't need it. As long as you could pass the bar, it's just can you study and pass the bar, right? I'm not 100% sure, so don't quote me on that, right? But unless it's certain things where you just absolutely have to have a degree, then why am I telling them to go get a degree? You can figure it out, especially in today's time. You're better off finding a mentor that's in the business that you want to be in can teach you far more. This is what all the successful people say. A mentor is worth way more than 4 years in college. If you can get you a mentor, sometimes you have to pay for that mentor. Sometimes you can just, now it in college, you can make connections, you can network with people and you can make connections because some of the people you meet in college, they go off and they become successful. And if you develop friendships with them, that can be a good thing as well. But that debt, you're just working. Most people are just killing themselves to pay back that debt. And that's that debt that don't come off your credit report if you don't pay it. Right. So the 4 years that my son, and I think I spoke on this in another video, but the 4 years my son is, well, because he graduated. So if he goes to college, the 4 years of debt, if he's not on a scholarship, right, that he will accumulate. Let's say if he does get a degree in whatever he wants to do. I think right now it's, I know what he wants to do. He wants to do YouTube. So he does editing now for somebody, for a bigger YouTube person, and he makes money doing that. That money that he's making there, he can invest that money, and by the time 4 years was to come up, he can have enough money to actually buy a house. He can stay here, invest that money for the next 4 years, and then when he will be graduating, that time frame, he can purchase a home. So what's the purpose? You go to college to make money to be able to live your life. But if you can start making money before that, then what would be the purpose? Everything now, especially now, everything you want to learn, you can learn online. You don't have to go to college. You can learn online. You can find somebody who specializes it and ask them to be your mentor, whether you have to pay for it or not. And if you pay for it, it's going to be far less than what you would be paying college. And they're not forcing you to take classes that you don't need for your specific industry. And you'll learn a lot more, a lot faster. And you'll be learning from a person who's actually successful in the business or whatever it is that you're trying to do in the industry that you're trying to be in, versus a college professor that a lot of times they never been successful in that. They just teachers. Some actually been successful and they go back to teach. Some, but most don't. They just teach that particular subject. So, and then, picking up a trade. But let me keep reading. They didn't teach you how to calculate your return on investment. They ignore high earning trades. So that's another thing, going to be an electrician or, now I guess the new thing would be IT, or some form of engineering. Or engineers are actually the number one newest millionaires of being an engineer of some sort, right? So they ignored high earning trades and recession proof skills. They pushed degrees, not marketable skills. A worthless degree with debt is a modern day financial prison. That's what I was talking about. I actually touched on all this before I even got to it. But anyways, they made you memorize dates, but never taught you compound interest. That's another thing. Saving that money and it's compounding, whether you put it in a high yielding online savings account, which won't really pay you that much, maybe 4%, depending on how the interest rates are during the time. It'd be like 2% in the low end. But you can also buy stocks. You can invest in the stock market, buy the SPY or QQQ, and it always keeps up with My bad, y'all. I got a message. It was all right. It can always keep up with the with the it'll be keeping up with inflation. My fault. Distracting messages. Keeping up with inflation, or doing better. It should do better than inflation, right? Which it more than likely will do. So investing in a SPY, and then that compounding interest, that basically every time it pays out a dividend, you just do dividend reinvestments, which it means it'll buy a portion of that particular stock or whatever, and it'll just keep building. If you have it in a savings account, a high interest savings account, it would just continue to compound. You know, when the War of 1812 happened, but they never taught you how money multiplies over time. They skipped the rule of 72, passive income and dividends. Yes. So the rule of 72 is whatever the interest rate is, you divide that by, you take 72 and divide it by whatever the interest rate is. And so, like, let's say if the interest rate is 10, I could give you an example better and explain it that way. So let's say if the interest rate is 10, the rule of 72 is you take 72 divided by 10, which would be 7.2. So it should take you about approximately 7 years to double whatever money you have in there. So if you put $1,000 in there and the interest rate is 10, or the dividend payment, right? Dividends is pretty much like interest rate, right? In a sense, when you own in the stock, they pay you a dividend, an annual dividend of 10. Annual interest rate of 10, right? So it's the same thing, 10%. So it'd take, if you have $1,000 in there, it should take about 7 years to double. So every 7 years, it's a double. So you put 1,000, 7 years later, you have 2,000. 7 years past that, so it's a total of 14 years, you have 4,000. 7 years past that, so that's a total of 21, you'll have 8,000, and so on and so on. They made you think 100,000 in savings was security. The rich get richer because they understand time is money. They trained you to fear debt while the rich use it to get richer. Yes. So I made a video on the whole debt thing. Debt can be good, like I told you before, but for most people, it's hard to keep up with. So it's best to just kind of stay out of debt as much as possible. Don't really get into debt to begin with. If you can, don't really get into debt. And then when you do need to leverage debt, make sure you are very calculated and you are paying attention. Don't do a whole bunch of, I'm gonna get into this debt, use this to pay that debt. And if you do that, you will end up getting lost, because all it takes is one hiccup, one financial moment where you hit a hard place, and then now it's all messed up. Is it raining? They skip leverage, real estate loans, and business credit. Meanwhile, the wealthy use debt to buy income producing assets. If you fear debt, you'll always be owned by those who control it. See, that's the only thing I somewhat disagree with it. Not having debt is also a good thing. You can use it, but use it sporadically. Use it very strategically. You know what I mean? Just buy assets that produce. If you can buy assets and slowly build it up, that's even better, right? Because if any hard times hit, you don't ever have to worry about, okay, I gotta go get a loan here. I gotta figure out how to pay this. Because when you're debt free and the economy drops, you'll have cash. You'll still have some cash available. And when the economy drops, that's when you rack up and you just buy shit. And you don't even have to use any, you won't have to use any credit to do it. You know what I mean? So you're not paying back any interest rates or anything like that. They taught you to save money, not that saving makes you poor. Inflation erodes. Yes, you should always be investing. You have your savings, your emergency fund, and maybe something that you're saving for, like if you was just trying to take a trip or something like that. That's cool. But outside of that, the rest should just be investing. Inflation erodes your savings daily. It does, because If you're saving at a 1% and inflation is at 3%, technically your dollar is losing buying power. This system tells you to save while they print trillions. They never mention that the dollar loses value every year because of inflation. The wealthy don't save, they invest. If you're just saving, you're silently getting robbed. They never taught you that a job can make you rich. They never taught you that a job can't make you rich. I'm sorry. They made you think a high salary equals success, but salaries are capped. Ownership isn't. The wealthiest people don't work jobs; they own assets. The 9 to 5 trap is modern day economic slavery. And see, that's the thing about the college. If I'm saying, oh, we put so much emphasis on being proud of going to college, but you're going to college so you could just be a higher end worker for someone else. And not everybody, obviously, not everybody can be an entrepreneur, own their own business and stuff like that. And that's cool. That's cool. But if you do get that job, make sure that you're investing. Make sure you're investing extra money. Don't go just blowing your money. If you don't own, you're working for someone who does. Like I said, everybody is not capable of being the owner, and that's okay. As long as you have that money where, you know, that money that's invested where you don't have to work yourself to death. And if the owner try to fire you, you're like, all right, fuck you. I got it. They glorify home ownership, but skip the real wealth gain. They made buying a house the dream, but never taught you cash flow versus liabilities. Houses are liabilities, by the way. If your house ain't making money, it's a liability. They skip real estate investing, leverage, and rentals. They convince you to take on debt for 30 years. And taking on that debt for 30 years, you when you're done, you're pretty much paying triple the amount of what that house price was. So if you bought it for 200,000, when you're done, you're almost paying 600,000 from the interest. Owning income producing real estate over owning a house. They trained you to be an employee, not an investor. Yeah. No lessons on stock, real estate, or private equity. They never taught you how the rich buy assets with debt. They never explained why CEOs take stock instead of salaries. They made investing seem risky, while betting on a paycheck is riskier. If you don't invest, you'll always work for someone who does. They never taught you that inflation is government theft. They told you money is safe in the bank. They never told you, yeah, money is not safe in the bank. Well, it's not safe in the bank, but the bank is making so much money off of our money. It's crazy. They never told you the system prints trillions, devaluing your savings. The ultra rich protect themselves with assets while the poor hold cash. Your dollar buys less every year by design. Inflation is a hidden tax, and the poor pay the most. All right. So that's that. I'm hungry. I'm done. Peace.